All right, I'm Pat.
Hi, Pat. I'm Jeffrey. Um, I guess we started with that fascinating topic of not much.
Yeah, it's been a really uneventful couple days. It's been nice.
Any particular reason?
No, I was just relaxing. Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah. I think I got Skylines 2 out of my system.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I yeah, I'm much improved experience.
Yeah.
I think I got my city up to about 400,000 before it started making my computer cough a little bit.
That's a real problem if it starts making your computer cough.
Well, yeah, but that's a lot of fucking people in a city. So there's a lot of shit going on, and it's a lot bigger than like before in Skylines One. I think the most I could ever get a city up to before it become like literally ungovernable was maybe about 200,000. So I doubled that, and it
Yeah,
was running like clockwork, man.
I think we had kind of a weird. I don't think this was anything that they published, but I think that you and I once worked out kind of a weird scale as far as
Yeah, it's
what an
not one
actual
for one.
population center would be like. It's something to the tune where a single family household holds like 16 people.
Yeah, not in this one.
Yeah.
This one's about normie, but I did fill up. I'd say probably about a good half of the map.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like all right, so unlike before where unlocking tiles becomes insanely expensive,
Yeah.
this one it's like, well, what's the tile worth? So
Right.
if it's just a chunk of ocean
Yeah.
with a little strip of beach, it's like $5. It's like, yeah, okay.
Right.
But if it's like loaded with dinosaur blood, it's worth more.
Does make sense. Yeah.
Now the whole thing is just full of all kinds of new things that just make fucking sense. It's like, oh wait a minute, I don't need to like bulldoze this school, all right, or I don't need to put a elementary school every 4 blocks. I just
You
build a
add to
bigger
it.
one.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
build a bigger one, and it's like okay.
Yeah.
And so like even though I had this enormous city that covered this entire fucking island, I had maybe like 2 dozen schools. It was like normal. I didn't have 50. Yeah. you know?
Well, I guess that's sort of let's take sort of a mental inventory of that right now. So, you and I are both very familiar with the area. So, how many? Okay.
How many schools do we have?
Well, let's start with the elementary level, right?
Oh, that's a lot more. I can't count that high.
Well, you still have to plop those things down. They still count. So, I mean,
Right.
so there's one. Um, and I guess we're talking about the service area, so to speak. So, I mean, there's two that I can think of.
Oh, there's a bunch that I can think of because you got Rudy, you got Martinez, you got Carver, you've got Sand Creek right over there.
Right. The problem is that so we're starting 1-to-1 right now,
Right.
right? We're not, we haven't converted this to HO or N scale or whatever it is that it is for you train guys. So what would, I guess, the city equivalent of what we have right here, right? So like you mentioned here, there's four,
Mhm.
right? But I don't know what that would count as in city terms.
Well, so Skylines 2 is one for one scale. So it literally is. So I built a city that was about 4 miles by, I'd say, about three. And it had, let's see, I named my school, I always name my schools after presidents. And
All
so,
right.
yeah, it's just a thing that I do. And so I made it all the way to McKinley.
You started in order?
I do them in order. And this includes colleges and high schools. So the whole thing had what, 40 schools ish?
Do we have 40 total schools?
No. That's way too many. So Abraham Lincoln was 16.
Yeah.
So Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Garfield, Arthur, Hayes. There's another Pierce, and then McKinley.
So
So about
16 plus 5.
28. Yeah, about 24 schools. About 2 dozen. Yeah.
Do we? And this is just elementary schools, or is it schools in
This was
total?
everything.
So
And I'd say I probably had like every third or fourth school was a high school, and like I had two colleges. I had three colleges at the end, so I had three.
I don't know if that's one for one with a 200,000 person city.
Well, to be fair, they weren't full, so
Yeah, I suppose it's true.
I mean, some of them were. I did have one high school that had like 4,000 students in it, so it was like a campus, you know. So I don't know, man. It's just like scale wise, it felt a lot better than
It feels a
Skylines
lot
Nine.
better. It feels a lot. It is.
It didn't
It's
feel
just.
as good as SimCity 4. So, but it's close. So, money is no object if you understand like how taxes work in that game, which actually work like taxes. So, you don't own the means of production; you tax the means of production.
Seems so much more efficient. Sounds like more people have a good chance at life, Patrick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it was good. I've got it out of my system for now. I'll probably pick it up again later this fall.
It
Yeah, to try it
feels
out.
like something to play when it gets cold.
Yeah, it'll be a good time to play it when it gets cold. So yeah, so yeah, that was my. I spent the last couple of days wrapping that up, and I got to the point in time where I got to build the big airport, and I was like,
Oh yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right, this works. I didn't play with all the transit tools, so but the ones that I did play with are fantastic, and it was a lot of fun doing the old like, huh, this is a problem. What do I have in my toolkit over here? What is in my spare parts box of nuts and screws and former projects that I can use to actually fix this fucking clock? So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it was really good. So and I did like when I bought the game, I did pay for the like all the DLCs, like like the it was like the $90 version of the game,
Yeah.
and so 80% of the DLCs were hot garbage.
I don't even know if I know what they are. I don't know if I
Dude,
bought
most of
that
them are
version.
fucking radio stations and different architecture, which is
Oh,
fucking dumb.
give a shit about
Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah.
know. It's like, no, I don't want more, like stupid row house European garbage, in my
No,
town.
just fucking have the decency to. You know what? If they had any wits about them, they just fucking write a check to fucking Bethesda and say like, "Can we use your Fallout 76 playlist?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'd be nice. So, but one of the DLCs was really, really good, and it's this one that allows you to design your own port facilities.
Oh,
And so
oh,
you
okay.
actually lay out the cranes and you can make it all intermodal so it connects to your trains. And these aren't
Oh,
just ploppable things, they're things that you kind of stitch together. Um,
okay.
and it was way fun. So figuring out the ship channels and all that stuff, to try and get as much cargo capacity out of my port as I could. It was my goal. Like if someone took a truck off the edge of the map,
Yeah,
that was a failure on my part.
that's a very
So
interesting perspective.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All
So
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
cool.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I had a good time with it. And so it got back to the ant races, which I really enjoyed in the first one,
Mm,
where you're just sitting there and you're like watching for something to break for a little while. It's like, all right, well, if I zone a little bit more over here, is it going to fuck up the whole thing? The answer is yes. Okay. So now let me do that again over here, but let's build the infrastructure first. So and see if it gets utilized. So it was fun. It was a good trip down memory lane. When I used to do that, like whenever I go visit my in-laws for a week, I just cities for a week. So
yeah, I can see that. I don't know. It's sort of a at this point, right? How many how many times would you estimate that you spent a week down with your in-laws?
Well, my daughter's 15, so at least 15.
So at least 15.
There
So
we missed COVID here.
okay.
So yeah, 14.
But were there
Uh,
years that you went twice?
no, no, no. There
Okay.
was one year that we went twice, but we just went down for like a couple days because my wife's grandfather was turning 100.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that
All
was
right.
not a bring the laptop kind of weekend. So
Yeah, that's weird, man. Uh, I don't know if I'd be able to get away with that kind of vacation, but I guess it depends on the company that you keep.
dude, it's the most chill thing on the planet. I
Yeah.
mean, they just sit there
Yeah.
and they fucking eat breakfast and they sit out and drink coffee and watch people golf. So it's like pre-retire. It's like previewing retirement.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a
This,
single person that I could visit that wouldn't have a uh, at least a uh, semi locked itinerary in place. Not necessarily as rigid as some folks, where it's uh, you know we have to hit the road by 7 to be here, et cetera, et cetera.
mm-mm.
But I do feel like there's not a aside from you guys, I don't think there's a person I know who'd let me get away with
Oh, if you were on vacation with
without.
us, totally, it would totally be that way. rent a fucking beach house somewhere and
Yeah,
just be like, you're on your own recognizance, son. You want to bring the gaming laptop and take it out to the deck, go for it.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, there's push button coffee maker here, so have at it. Yeah.
I mean, I can get on board with it. I mean, trust me, this is not. I mean, when it comes to what would be my first choice of vacations, I don't know, maybe somewhere in between. But I certainly would have many times. I've had no problems just going someplace and well, what's the appeal of this? I'm just sleeping in a different city, and it's fine.
Yeah. No, I'm very much that way. So, I mean, so like Phoenix trips, when we were younger, we would do a couple more things.
Yeah,
Like, they got a bunch of cool like kids museums and shit like that down there that they don't have here.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
we'd take a day and we'd be like that, or we go watch spring training. We'd go catch a ball game, but that was it. So there was like one or two trips out of what's usually an 8 or 9 day trip. So,
Yeah, and at 8 or 9 days, I mean, that is a very different story, though.
oh yeah,
Yeah, a very different story.
yeah, no. So, and I mean that's how I vacate. So,
Well, I guess the last vacation that you took that wasn't Phoenix was what? It was
oh, we went to Durango just a month ago. So we were down there what 4 days, and then Taos for a day. Yeah. So that one was a little bit more itinerary based.
yeah,
So
see, I guess that's the thing. I mean, you have seen if it was your first and only time you'd be in Phoenix, I think they'd probably jam pack you a little bit.
oh maybe, but I mean, Phoenix is it's just a big city. It's basically a slightly larger and much hotter version of Denver.
Aren't they all? I
Yeah,
mean,
they're kind of it's like taking a vacation to Dallas. It's like okay.
fair enough. I mean, you're right. I mean, that's the weird thing about it is I guess it's hard to make a distinguish on this one here. So I mean, there is something to be said about um, like in the old SimCity games, some dude would pop out and fucking bother you after you hit certain milestones. They're
Mhm.
kind of like, hey, you're no longer a village, and he'd pop out and tell you some shit about this. And I guess I will say that there is something to whatever the 5,000, 20,000, 100,000. Yeah, I think that they would give you the mark of uh, like village,
Yeah,
city, metropolis, whatever
yeah,
they were back in the day. I think I think there is something to be said about when you're in a city of a particular milestone. It does take on a slightly different life
Yeah.
where God, and it seems this is pretty commonplace all around the world. Is this sort of you have this place that is uh, I don't want to say in its infancy because it might not. It could be from the 1800s, but there's something to the tune of this is an offshoot or a separate piece of a bigger place. So it has its own certain lifestyle and a certain attitude to it.
Yeah.
Once it starts getting local, you now have an official Arby's instead of their equivalent,
Oh,
right?
yeah, resident Arby's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then once you hit, Metropolis, then it becomes
Then it's hard to find an Arby's.
it's hard to find an Arby's because yeah, you start having it at I would say whatever the interim between like so I guess that would be like town, city, metropolis. At the city level, you have you have Democrats cordoned off versus once you hit like metropolis, right?
It's just all Democrats.
It's
The Raptors have opened the doors.
kind of yeah, where you start having like luxury beliefs.
See, I developed a very non-Democrat city, man. So it took me a long time to install the welfare office. And the
Well,
only
they're reluctant.
I was very reluctant, and I kept getting nasty chirps or tweets or whatever they call them in that game. Like, we should do more for the poor. Yeah, and I'm like, I lower your taxes. Fuck off. So
So
I,
you mean more for the poor?
dude,
It's
I
like,
ran the most Republican city you've ever seen. It was all heavy industry, shitloads of agriculture. The poop went right into the bay.
I say like there should be the people that say like we need to do more for the poor, but your answer should be like St. Mary's is open on 59th.
No, my answer was jobs. Yeah. I was like, this town is filthy with employment, so get to it. And that was one of my things, man. I was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. But finally, I figured out that, okay, all right, so you do need, like SimCity 4, you do need a part of your town that's a little bit stabby.
Right,
Okay,
right.
because otherwise people don't move in because rents are high. And so
Yeah.
it's like, okay, all right, Country Mouse needs to have a place to stay when he comes into the city with his fucking handkerchief on a string, on a stick,
Right.
and so I built the welfare office and a whole bunch of PJs. And it just like everything, it was like the city's like fucking Ellis Island.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like you just watch people move out of there. It's like, okay, you found a decent job. You're welcome. So you might be like fresh off the boat and having some 120-hour work weeks, but your kids are going to get a great education here. They're going to grow up to become lawyers and engineers. And that was another thing that I was like, it was like because you can build different types of schools, and I skipped right over the liberal arts. It was like, nah, we're gonna have a whole bunch of community colleges. So, and then after that, we're gonna have MIT. That's it.
Right. So
These are your choices.
you have two major institutions in town, which is fucking Turning Wrenches U and
Yep.
fucking space rocketry.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what it was. So, but um, no, it felt good, man, and I'm glad. Like we talked a lot of shit about it when it first came out here on the podcast, which is
Every word of it earned.
it was absolutely earned, and the studio that took that game over deserves every applause that I can give them because they just made some very simple, common sense fixes to it. That was like, yeah, okay, so stop trying to force me to build a utopia and just treat a city like a city. So and so they fixed a lot of the bullshit in that game. That really kind of like made it a lot of fun to play. So, because I mean, you can still go down that route and make sure that everybody gets fucking pre-K and free daycare and all this bullshit. 420 friendly, blah blah blah.
Sure, sure.
And it's like not my town, man. So, the cop to person ratio is very high
1 to 1.
here. So I put the prison in the island in the bay so everybody can see it. There ain't no bridge to it. You got to take the ferry. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a wild thing. I mean, so if there were a version, Patrick, if the city skylines basically, they have sort of the best way I can say that is kind of like King Super's brand names for
Hmm.
certain real life entities, right? So if they had their Kroger brand flock cameras, would you install
Oh,
them?
the flock cameras?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that, man. I just, I mean, the way to deter crime is to punish it effectively.
See,
You know?
this is a tough thing, man. It's sort of so one of the uh, of course I'm so not subscribed, but you know most of the major newspapers around this country I follow, right. So I get the headlines from what uh, I don't know a nice way to say it. I think there's a series of beliefs that people have because they were born wealthy enough to have them,
Oh, yeah.
and
That was on display this
so
weekend.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
boy,
Boy, in spades.
and you can just pick your story on it. But one of the things that they were talking about was the lack of. They were using basically. Uh, they were using percentages of times that National Guardsmen in D.C. were appearing in court or basically had made arrests to use this as a measurement to show how ineffective having the National Guard around DC was.
Ignoring the murder rate, hey?
Well, so that's the thing, Patrick, is when it comes to a police presence,
Hmm.
is percentage of times they were involved in a crime. Why are you shaking your head no?
No,
Why is that not the metric to use?
no. I mean, there's a more obvious metric to use.
What's that?
How many people are getting killed in your city? Like
Right,
how much property damage and theft is taking place. This is all very well tracked. So,
right, right.
yeah. No, I did see something on that on DC and blah blah blah, but then you don't have to scratch too deep in that kitty litter to find like people who are locals who say, "Hey, it's much better now."
Right. That's the catch up. And of course, this was USA Today, and I'm convinced that they may actually be worse than the Washington Post, which is tough. Um,
Well, there's still the king daddy out there.
they are still the king daddy, um, even after Bezos shook that place and
Oh,
said,
no, 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 no. There's a bigger super predator out there than the Washington Post. Maybe not in Washington. Well, yeah, it probably is in Washington too.
"I was going
So
to say the Times."
that would be the New York Times. That's
Right,
correct.
right.
So, which is basically the volcano from which all the shit comes from.
I believe in
So,
some ways. I think yes. I think it's the volcano, but I think that there are some people that have a bigger chip on their shoulder. So
dude, NPR, dude. Oh my God.
it,
I read an NPR article today that made my blood boil.
how did
Uh,
they get you?
they
Because
got
you've
me
been
with that fucking thing in Boston with that lady who killed her kids. So,
boy.
fuck, they had this weepy ass article about postpartum depression, blah, blah, blah. And yes, it's a real thing.
It is.
Every woman goes through it. Very few of them, and I mean exceedingly few of them, almost zero of them actually do that. And so, but then of course, this is probably, well, I can't, I'm not too good of a judge on word count, but I would say it was a four scroll article.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way. So what is that? Maybe about 4,000 words or
Four
something.
scrolls.
Yeah, maybe
How many paragraphs did you read?
all of them.
I'm not asking. No,
Oh yeah, okay, I got you.
how many paragraphs were present? Would you say?
I don't. Maybe it doesn't. So
I would say then you're probably looking at 1,000 to 1,200 words.
okay, all
Yeah,
right. See, I'm not a good judge of that.
you're
So
fine. Yeah,
yeah.
it's not work out.
All right, so I read the whole motherfucking thing, and yeah, about halfway through, it starts turning into this whole thing about how we need to support more fucking mental health facilities and paid time off and blah blah blah. And I was like, there it is, I found it.
Well, so all right, and I don't know what particular angle of this got you hacked off. I know that for me the thing that flicked my shit was the million or so dollars that they've raised for this person on GoFundMe or whatever it is
um,
from I think it's 32,000 different donors at this point. Um, Now, I guess so. Here's my big concern on this one here is, and this is where we did get somebody to I think delete her account, which was so fucking stupid. Who went through the litany of different doctors
mm,
and stuff like this because this is documented. This is what they've been covering. So she went here, she went here, she went here, she went here, right? And the whole like much like you said, it was that was then an examination of how the medical system failed her,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Now, when it came down to it, I had a very direct question for this lady, which was like, okay, so if it failed her, here's my question: is what are you suggesting they do? What is the intervention that you think the medical system should have taken to prevent this? I'm
Yeah,
like,
should they have taken her kids?
well, that was the thing. Is like, are you saying they should have intervened and
Should
take
they
should
have
they
lobotomized her?
should they have detained her?
Right, yeah.
Right? Here's the thing: is
Well, that's not the crux of the argument. That's that you know that though, dude.
the crux of the argument here is that fucking three kids are dead.
No, no, no.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
I'm
you're
sorry.
right. Yeah, no. I guess that's the bedrock of the argument.
Okay, okay.
So no, the whole thing is it's just a stick to hit Trump with, you know. Yeah,
The most roundabout way possible. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's
True.
always the goal, man.
Yeah.
Once you spot it, you can't unsee it. You know, and there's certain outlets where I mean that's all that's like mandatory for their stuff that they put out. You
Oh, it's
know,
they're not fulfilling their civic duty
it
unless
didn't
they
take him very
change it
long to
somehow.
actually take a swipe at Bobby Kennedy. So, which is basically like just punching Curly to get to Mo. They're going to get involved in the fight. So
The code is thinly veiled, dude.
it's very
It's not.
yeah.
This is that they're not fucking wind talking here, dude. It's
No,
yeah, it's
no. Um, yeah. So that one got me, and I mean, it got me like it was like, oh my god, dude, this is so. I mean,
it's transparent.
it is so transparent, and it's also like it is so played out that when you see it, it's kind of like, man, this is an offense that worked like 6 years ago. Okay, the
Yeah,
league has
yeah,
changed, son.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a different guy on the cover of the Madden when this used to work.
It wasn't even a different guy. This is a guy who's been retired.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's up to he's due to get in the hall this year. This is a first round folk.
Oh, we're talking about like this is controversial terms. They're using the fucking like this is the Michael Vick on the cover shit right
Oh
here.
man, that one was '05. I remember that. That was the last one I owned. So
It was a big deal.
it
Yeah,
was a big
it
deal.
was kind of a
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a big deal. This is back when I used to play it on a fucking PC, man. So,
Look, there was a time where Madden wouldn't be the optimal place to play
a PC
a
game? No.
PC. No, I would argue it is now.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't played it since then. So
Maybe
it's been a
you know
bit.
what? That's interesting. In terms of things that I have not visited in quite a while. Maybe this will be the year that I pick a sports game
Mm,
and reinvest in what it's like. I feel like there's a chance that uh, it could feel differently than '05.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it's prettier. I almost got sucked into baseball games like 3 years ago. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I can't remember. There was a game. I think it's called The Show.
Yeah.
So that I was pretty close to getting, and then something else came out that I was like, "Oh, this is much better. It involves much more combat."
So here's the problem with baseball games, man. Is this has been a problem since baseball games have been a thing, right? So football, fortunately, they've been able to do a pretty good job of that HO or N scaling the game, where
Right.
in order to make it playable, they don't have commercials and they set it to 5 minute quarters,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, you can't really get around that in baseball, can you?
Well, that's the thing
Yeah.
is they can't scale it. You can't jump in. It would feel weird to play a 5 inning game, right?
Yeah. It'd be easy to quit out of a game. That's for sure.
Right. And under the same token,
Just auto resolve.
yeah, the other thing that you can't do is you can't say like, all right, well then, why don't we play 1 out innings? See that
Well, you can set it to banana ball rules. Come on, man. Yeah.
that's a different game.
That's a different game.
That's
Yeah,
sort
I
of
know.
yeah. And that sort of ends up being the struggle with baseball games is that the more analogous they get to it, like uh, getting closer to quote unquote reality and however you want to slice it, it still takes an hour to knock out one of those games.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I have never, in all my life of playing sports games, I've played a lot of different like baseball games. I have never completed a full 161 game season.
Oh, a season? No, fuck
Uh-uh.
no. Yeah, no way. So yeah. I can't even think of the last baseball game I really put a lot of time into. It was probably way back when I was a kid on PC.
Was it that fucking baseball manager game that you used to play?
No,
Or?
my dad used to play that. It was Earl Weaver's baseball. Yeah, which was apparently like one of the greatest baseball games ever created. He loved it because then, yeah, you'd pick your lineups and shit like that, and then you go out there and you could actually play the game. So, or you could just go manager mode on it.
Right.
Yeah. So, and you would watch your guys do this shit. And so it's kind of like watching a baseball game.
It would not surprise me if you hopped in whatever year's fucking EGM that was and found that that got like a 10 out of 10.
Probably.
Yeah.
This would have been their mid 90s. So,
Mid 90s?
maybe early 90s. Yeah.
Right.
So, well, yeah, no, mid 90s because it wasn't on that wasn't our Commodore days. So, close though.
Yeah.
Probably the first or second iteration of Dell PCs that we had, or no, HPs, Hewlett Packards back in the days. Yeah,
You guys didn't ever own a like a Packard Bell, did you?
I think we did.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I think
right.
we had a Packard PB, and then yeah, then Hewlett Packard. Dad refused to buy a Dell when they came out. Because he used to get like fucking not PC Gamer, but the serious version of it. It's
Uh,
PC Journal, something like that. Um,
I think it was even. I think it had an even more stuffy name than that. It
I
was
think
like
it
the
was
like the PC Inquirer or something like that.
PC Post.
You think I'm joking? There was
No,
one that had a name like that. Well, because you're talking about the
it
one
had the same logo as PC Gamer, but at the bottom of it, it said like PC Serious or
PC
something.
Express.
No,
Well,
uh,
because you're talking about the one that was half. Well, I actually wasn't even half. Where like gaming was sort of like a subdivision, but most of it was like industry shit.
it was all industry shit,
Yeah,
and it was printer
yeah,
reviews and
yeah.
stuff like that. And it would talk about fucking spreadsheet software and all kinds of things. Yeah.
It wasn't PC Accelerator.
Uh-uh.
That was their short-lived like 3 year. That was actually a
I
funny
think it was
magazine.
just PC Magazine, actually. Yeah, it was. It was just PC Magazine. Yeah.
I think that feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
No.
So he got that, and that's how I got PC Gamer back in the day because you could get they were both part of the same publisher.
Mm,
And
mm.
so Dad was like, "Hey, you want this too?" I was like, "Sure." But stick the stamp on the fucking publisher's clearinghouse
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, and then there was because he was into that, man. I mean, he was into the tech behind it. I know he tried to teach himself how to program like 10 fucking times. Just never stuck. So, and then
Yeah.
he discovered Flight Simulator and it was over. So, because that's all he did for the next 20 years. So,
I'll tell you the other thing I was looking at, and I know this is going to sound ridiculous, and I was actually on Steam, uh, I was looking at it right there, and I was about to click on fucking what is it? It's the big game about long haul trucking.
Oh yeah, over the what is it? Yeah,
Yeah. I bookmarked it or I saved it. I was like, you know what? This actually
dude, there's a huge community behind that.
there is a
There's a
huge.
monster community,
I just
man.
saw people having fun with it,
Yeah.
not even. I don't know how to describe it. There was just something about it where I'm like, I hated doing this
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
real life, but I was like, but it's not a deer that's going to hit my car,
No.
you know?
No. 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 Yeah. So I've done all the train simulators.
I
You
knew
know.
what you
Yeah.
have.
I mean, so there's one that's like as realistic as it gets, and you sign up for a shift on that. That's an 8 hour hole. You know, where you actually have to work the radio and everything. And I did it just because I was like, let's see if I can remember how to do this. And sure as shit, it was like, oh yeah, it was like star 86, call the dispatch. I was like, fuck.
You find your own fucking name in the credits.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Is this this actually kind of looks like me?
Right, yeah, this guy. Yeah. This is my Jeep. But you know, there's a huge community behind that. And the train simulators. I mean, the flight simulator one is enormous. So, I mean, they still got what is it? There's the I think it's like airliners.net or something like that. It's an old site that's been around forever. Or maybe that's something different, but it's along those lines where these guys basically use flight simulator to run an airline.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. There's a full blown community for it. They take shifts. They
they
have
take shifts and they run the
um,
ATCs and everything.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
nuts. So yeah, and there's no time compression. So if you're flying New York to LA, you're flying from New York to LA.
Yeah, that was the weird thing about Flight Simulator, which is look, there's no two way. It's a great game,
I
all
had a
right.
lot of fun with it, man.
But there was a point where, for me, I'm like, I'll never be able to turn the next level of switches off.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I got to the point in time where I could do some of the things, but I got myself into trouble in that game a lot. So where it would be like, all right, yeah, turn the weather on. It's like I'm gonna die. You know? It's like I can't see out of my windshield. I don't know anything about IFR. I'm fucked.
Tell my wife I'll miss her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. Yeah.
I got to get out
The
of
other
this
one
box
that's really
now.
big is Farming Simulator. I've seen these guys play that.
That I have no interest in. That
I've been
I
watching
can't see
this guy
myself
doing it.
anything but goofing off in that game.
No, man. I mean, he's seriously like, he's like, you know, this guy, he's like, okay, I used to farm when I was a kid. Okay, I know what all these things do, and I know a little bit about farming. And you literally start out as a dude with some land. You know? And it's way too complicated for me to get into it. So, you know, but it was kind of fun to watch him for a while. He also got me turned on to this game that I was playing for a little while. I gave up on it after a bit because they stopped supporting it. But it was one where you'd go to a junkyard and you'd pick out like junk and you'd rebuild cars using that junk. And it was
Jesus
all realistic,
Christ.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was like, it was nerfed down, you know, but I mean, you actually start learning. It was like, oh, okay, so this connects to this, which makes the gas go. Got it, you know, kind of thing. And so it's
I've heard
kind
the
of,
word manifold in my life many
what
times.
is
What
that?
is
Yeah,
it?
what
What
is
does
it?
it do?
Yeah. So yeah. Um,
Every time someone says it, I just shake my head and then they
yep.
make me write a check.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Carburetor, huh? So I did learn the difference between carburation and fuel injection playing that game. So
What's the difference?
carburetor actually mixes the air in the carburetor, and fuel injectors does it in the injectors. So yeah,
Well, you have one or the other.
you have one or the
Right.
other. Yeah.
You wouldn't have both.
No, no.
Because if some dude says you have both, he's ripping you off.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
And then he comes out to the waiting room holding like a tire. He's like, "Oh, your carburetor's been. We're gonna have to fix your fuel
Yeah,
injector."
we're gonna have to fix your brake fluid.
Yeah.
So you are really low on blinker fluid.
Yeah, I almost did, but I was like, this seems time consuming. I was like, and maybe at another point, but I was like, nah, I'm looking for stuff that I can get into for 20 minutes and walk away
Yeah,
from.
it's not a baseball game.
I do not have it
It's
in
not
me.
trucking simulator.
Yeah, I don't have it in me lately to sit down and play something for. It is amazing in hindsight for me to look at the uh, continuous, uninterrupted periods upon which I used to be able to just play a game. And
I can still do that, but like the last game that I played that I put a lot of hours into that required constant attention was that Banner Lords
mm, mm,
Mountain Blade.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, that
mm-hmm.
was not a like okay, you know, make changes, let them cook for a while, watch TV, or grade papers or whatever, and just let it run. That was like a thing where it's like, oh fuck, that guy's coming. Get all the guys together, get the army, get in a position.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the last one. So Skylines is not like that. So Skylines, I can play that for hours and hours and hours because you get all kinds of other shit done while I'm doing it. So
Sure. Yeah.
um, yeah, because I mean honestly, it's kind of it's relaxing for me because I can sit there and I can tinker with it. I'm like, all right, that's got to cook for a little while. Let me go knock some stuff out.
Sure. Yeah.
Like even like just let me go run the vacuum around here.
All right. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that's definitely part of it. I mean, the other thing too was with the trucking thing. I'm like, am I comfortable doing this with just a controller and the keyboard, or do I have to
Get the rig.
purchase?
Yeah.
Do I need to purchase a wheel? Will I feel complete doing it? Then again, there was a piece of me that said, I have a wheel in my car. Is it?
Right. You can just actually drive somewhere. Yeah.
I was at a loss.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can't exactly do that. I don't own a Cessna 172, so
Nor do I.
yeah.
And there was something to Flight Simulator where again, this is a different game. It's a completely different set of expectations, but there's still a part of me that I'm like, well, I'm in the air. Um, I do kind of want to bomb a train.
Yeah. Yeah, this Cessna 172 needs 850 cals on it. Yeah, at least six, preferably eight. Yeah.
Something, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, I've sworn off naval games. I haven't picked it up since last November. And the bug hasn't itched, since then, even though they finally built the one that I wanted. I was like, you know what? I'm good.
Weird how that works.
It is weird how that works. You wait a long time for something, and you're like, I'll wait a little bit
You're kind of
longer.
like, it's weird. You guys, you listened. You gave me exactly what I was asking for, but
Oh, you got to tell me what the fuck is going on with GTA 6. So, speaking of waiting for
I'll
games,
give you the events as I know them.
because I saw an article on that today, and I was like, oh, fuck, I got to ask Jeff about this because I'm not going to read all this shit.
There are okay. All right. What do you know about it
Okay,
so far?
apparently they got hacked, and they're getting threatened by the hacker to like change the game or something.
It's not so. I mean, not the game so much as like the model.
Okay,
So there's all right.
he wants a disc. You want a physical disc?
They do. That's part of it. So
The
here.
game would be like 9 discs.
Well, see, that's sort of one of the things that I'm hearing about the game here. So I went checking for that information too. So the way I understand this, and uh, this is sort of a problem that's endemic to the system. I don't think. All right, let me put it out here this way, because the dude I was looking at that was tracking this the closest, right? the way he best described this game was GTA 5.2, right?
Okay.
So he
I heard it described as Red Dead with cars.
a little bit,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, in a lot of the same way where they're like, look, it's going to feel like a little bit of a different game,
Hmm.
but it's not. It's like this is not what you'd expect out of 10 years of development.
14 years. Yes.
I think he rounded down, which
No,
I think was an
that's
error.
fine. Yeah.
Because I think that in that case, you round up to 15. But you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But he's like, this does not feel like a game that's been, over a decade in development. Um, because at this point, at first they were like, okay, this person. So there's a couple of concerns about where it came from. So one of the
What
things
the
that,
heck?
yeah,
Okay.
one of the things that was interesting about this was the sheer number of places that work had been outsourced to.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't just like an internal group and then you have a side, thing like this. They had like 14 teams, and unsurprisingly here, the it turned out that the leak they believe comes from the you're not going to believe me, but they believe it comes from the Indian branch of the team they outsourced to. Now, what they received was at first they were like, they have a special that they're going to be putting on Netflix, which is supposed to be showcasing some of the material
Okay.
within. They thought that what they had, what they'd procured, was what was going to be shown on Netflix. And the initial stuff that they show was kind of similar. So like, okay, well they got that. Fuck these guys. It's like, so they beat us to the punch. All right, that happened. Now keep in mind, shit from these guys had leaked in 2023, prompting them to change the game. But
Weren't they
uh,
the guys who leaked the map originally?
so this is a different team, but that
Okay.
was that was done before. So what they ended up showing more and more was that actually it turns out you guys have a complete build,
Oh, okay.
and on top of that,
So the leak came from Rockstar Central then.
it doesn't appear that way, or
Wow.
but people had access to
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you
it.
go. What if you got a complete build? I mean, all the pieces come together somewhere.
So what they were saying was within their ransom note, right? Which this is where it starts to get pretty funny. Is they're wanting to be paid in crypto. Um,
To not release more?
right.
Oh, okay.
So with
So we've
the
crossed over to like very illegal.
oh, this is so again,
Yeah.
this is
Okay.
just straight up ransom territory. Where
Okay.
again, this person's manifesto has a lot to do with physical media. It has a lot to do with escalating prices, et cetera, et cetera.
He didn't come from good old games. Yeah.
Doesn't appear to. And the the thing they said they would be releasing next are is the story.
Oh.
And so far there is a just a total there is a clusterfuck right now of people bending over backwards trying to find ways to just like go through the Discord here, go through this, subpoena this, and this. Um, Meanwhile, the deadline on this is in like 2 days.
Oh, for the Netflix thing?
No, for what their ransom note was.
Oh, got it. Subpoena don't work that fast.
But yeah, when it comes down to it, I am pretty sure it is going to get the whole thing is going to be leaked. I know that in 2023, when they had their leak back then, that prompted them to change the game. Uh, and it was sort of I remember back then it was underwhelming, right?
Yeah, I
But
remember.
they were clear. They're like it's not done, but it also didn't feel like it was done. It felt like essentially it felt like DLC content, but
Mm.
of the last game. But again, that's the impression they're giving of it so far. Is as far as the game goes and what you can do and how the game seems to play. Uh, Evidently, it does not feel like a step up. It does not feel like a major change. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing I'm really interested in is if the actual story of this comes out in a couple of days. and it turns out to be exactly what I think it is, then I don't think I'll buy it.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. So I know I'm not going to buy it, man, because I switched over to the master race. I'm not going to waste 6 months. I can watch people play it on YouTube.
Well, that's the thing. This is a PC build.
Well, they have to build it somewhere.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Which means that's the other component here is well, you have it working on this thing. You're just not releasing it for
No,
this
of
thing
course
for a
not.
period of time.
That's not how the business model works. Yeah.
Well, you'd better figure something out soon
There's a,
because
there's a revenue drip stream here.
because ultimately here, if you don't release it to them and this is out there floating around, they're going to be playing that version,
Probably.
which is what you dumbasses should have done in the first place.
Company's too big anymore anyway, man. So, well, we've been saying it for a long time. This is going to be the last, AAA plus 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 title that you'll see
Yeah.
from a major studio with fucking 1,600, different people working on it. Probably for another 10 or 15 years. I mean, Microsoft has basically fucking gutted Bethesda. So, I mean,
yeah.
yeah, so, if you wanted Fallout New Vegas version 2, it ain't happening. So, same thing. Elder Scrolls 6 has been in development for 20 years. So, you're never going to see it. So,
Well, actually, I have to give them credit for this because this is where to go back to uh, your city designer situation, right? Where I don't remember your exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, "My charity is jobs."
right, yeah.
So, I guess with a lot of the edicts that have come down, with a lot of the layoffs that have come out with it here, right? That's been part of the equation. Is so look, you have this much staff taking up space. Like, yes, I'm like, okay, show us the work they're getting done,
Right.
and ultimately they couldn't. It was just sort of like, so how do you have this much staff on here doing absolutely fucking nothing? You guys, it is the whole thing is your production should be this. These games should be out if you have this much staff doing what you say they're doing. Why is this not happening?
There's a lot of reasons to that, but like one of them that I saw the other day that kind of blew my mind was this rant by this guy. They've been working on a major project. I can't remember exactly which one it was. It might have been a Halo build.
Yeah, yeah,
or something like that,
yeah.
where they were talking about like, okay, so here's the original version of Halo, where you see Master Chief jump from the front seat to the gun in the Warthog.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the latest build of this, where you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because they spent hundreds and hundreds of hours trying to make mud shape correctly.
Yes. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Okay. And then so this guy was basically going on there saying it's like, yeah, a lot of these things have basically turned into, like pet computer science projects, where people are trying to actually model things, rather than actually produce content. So, and it was interesting, like just his take on it was like, I had never really thought about that, but if you give nerds a lot of money, you're going to come up with some pretty stupid shit.
and here's this is exactly the problem here is so there's a weird place that gaming is in right now, and this is why they shed so many fucking jobs. And this is, I think there's really two components to this, to be honest with you, right? I think there's one component is it's sort of like when you break the seal, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have certain places shedding jobs, right? The Blizzard example is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Of this, right? Where if you have a place that's shedding jobs, it gives everybody else a little bit more of a blank check to also shed jobs, right? Even if they
sure, you can go out and hire new talent. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not talking about hiring new talent. I'm talking about when they have a quote unquote like company ethos. It's like we do things this way. But if you see other companies doing it, and you've wanted to change directions,
Oh, I see
you
what
have
you're
a
saying.
lot more
Yeah, you got a
latitude
little
to do
cover.
that, right?
Yeah, you got a little cover.
You blend in with the crowd, right? And it seems like there's a particular, more than not, it seems like there's a particular crowd of people that are, they're finally trying to cut some of the unproductive cancer out,
Yeah,
right? Where it's like, we brought you on to have different ideas, but the ideas weren't good. So the really rough part about gaming right now, as far as whereas when we jumped in versus where it is now, okay,
totally different.
when we got there,
100% different.
the entire so a lot of times the developers, they were working somewhere else when they made these games, right? They had a job that was paying the bills, and between 1 to 4 people, right, were working on a certain project, right, where the entirety of the creative spirit was within this crowd,
Mm-hmm.
working within that and within their limitations, right? And I understand that it's a very different story now, and it requires a lot of other people to do this. But
Oh yeah,
there's
the tech alone is a million X what
million
it used
X.
to be. Yeah,
Right. But I mean, sales are also, commensurate with that. The flip
they
side on
are.
this here is when you have this weird mix of people where we are looking at, we want to give this dude creative control over this here, but also this company is owned by this company and they do
Mm-hmm.
want money. So it's like, show us how this crosses over with money. And I think there's a lot of guys in there who have no idea how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a golden period where I would say the things that you innovated and the things that you changed around that time gave you a lot more latitude with, hey, this dude that's been working on the fucking mud for 6 months, right? That person had a place there because of how that was changing the landscape, how that was, developing with that. But we've hit that point, that basically that efficiency point where it's, you have to look at that and say, like, the fucking mud doesn't count.
No,
This
it
doesn't
doesn't
count.
matter.
This is
Yeah, I don't care if the horse balls drop when it's cold.
this is
Come
all
on.
stupid shit, right? This is all this is not adding to the experience in any way. And so when they're part of the mass layoffs at Microsoft were exactly what you were talking about. It was also, show us where you are in the Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah,
Okay. You need to be here by this point.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So I understand there was a lot of that. And there were people saying, like, how can you ask us to do these things and cut the employees? It's like, because your employees were the thing that were holding you back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've got a little right, right problem, wrong solution. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, I get that, man. But I mean, some of it, like, it also comes down to just scale and volume too.
I don't know.
You
Yeah.
know, so like, I think Sid Meier and Bruce Shelley wrote Railroad Tycoon in like a week.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
So, um, and the same thing's true with even a lot of like we were talking a while ago about the change that made Diablo successful, where he figured out that just by adding an animation loop made it into an entirely different game. And that line of code took him about 20 minutes to write.
There you go.
All right. So, you know, but now it's just it's different. The market expectations are different. Quite honestly, they're shifting. Okay, because one of the things, and I was reading on this. This was a while ago. This wasn't anytime recent. Was that like we think that we're not in the prime market for games, and that's 100% not true.
We are the prime market.
We are the prime market, but we've seen everything, and so we have such ridiculous standards.
Well,
So because like if you're going to be a guy who decides, okay, I'm going to launch a garage studio, all right,
Yeah.
and you see this on
Yeah.
Steam all the time. You see that they pick a very narrow slice of the market,
yes.
okay, and they're like, all right, people are going to like this game, and so let me just shoot and let me take care of it. It's like someone sits down at a diner and orders a plate of eggs.
Yeah.
You're going to make them the best plate of eggs they ever got, but you're only going to sell that one plate of eggs.
Yes.
And so, there's a couple of developers that I follow, back when I was thinking about doing this, and there's just still residuals on my YouTube,
Mhm.
so to speak. And that's what they say. They say, yeah, a 3-man team who can deliver a great product to somebody who, is in the small segment of the market right here. You get boosted on Steam. He says, if I do 3 projects in a year and if one of them cracks,
Yeah.
okay, the other 2 immediately get junked. Okay. And then I start working on building more content for that. This is the guy who made that fucking game. that I got hooked on the
Schedule one.
Schedule One.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whole thing.
That's a good
Yeah,
point. Yeah,
he's a one man studio.
yeah, yeah.
One man studio. And he said, if people said that they wanted something, I would try and figure out a way to do it, or I would tell them I can't do it. Okay, but I can do this, this, and this. What would you like? And if you go back and if you look at the Steam page for that, you can see those posts on there. Where people are like, yeah, I want this. And he's like, okay, that I can do. It's going to take me about a month. Okay, but I mean, it just like that's the whole thing. And he's like, other people try and come in, they want to muscle in on your shit and buy you out, blah blah blah. So they can boost you more. It's like you can do that all on your own as long as your eyes don't get too big for your stomach, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of people who are going to play my game. That's fine. Okay. Not everybody needs to play my fucking game. So, but then there's like other, like that's where GTA 6 still falls because it's not in a niche like Madden where you can just crank them out ad infinitum. you know, it's a game that's designed to appeal from everybody from age 12 to now like 55. And it's not going to make anybody fucking happy.
Well, this is, yeah. I mean, this is sort of the iterative problem here, especially as even when you break it down and say like, all right, let me take, you use Civ, here's a perfect example of the franchise, right? So if you take that first game, right, and this is where you see like the indie subdivision, like we're talking about here, this is where they're really seeing the big games, right? So if you take Civ 1 at the time period that was in, the question here is, all right, what itch did the first game scratch for people playing this game, right? And ultimately here, that's sort of a tough question. You're like, is this a war strategy game? It's like, kind of.
Sid Meier answered that exactly.
Right.
He answered that. He said, he was like, I played Empire and I loved it.
Right.
And he said, what could I do to take Empire and turn it into like this story about a civilization?
Here's my question.
That's how he wrote it. So
do the later iterations still have that?
No.
Why? What's missing?
I don't know, man. It's just like one guy who says, hey, I think this would be a cool game to play, and I think a lot of people would like it. It's not focus grouped. It's not workshopped. It's not, riding on a brand, which a lot of them do. So, I mean, that's what Rockstar's doing. So, of course. And so, that's why, you're right. You got to watch the indie scene and things pop out of there. The problem with the indie scene, though, is scalability. All right. So you can have a game blow up on Steam, make a guy a mint of money.
Yeah.
And guess what?
No,
he's done. He's good. He's not going to turn it into some fucking studio and crank out another 20 years of content. We've seen that happen several times, man, especially on games that are at least on early access.
Your truest version of that is Minecraft, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. But yeah, that's sort of the thing here is then when you break down the key components and say like, well, why the people that I would argue the people right now that are playing Civ are not the original Civ players.
Oh Lord, no.
It's people that have jumped in at some point. Yeah. Because ultimately here, I don't think the most recent games, I don't think they scratch the same itch that the old games did, right? In the same way, like when you break down, so what are these indie games doing right here? Here's the thing, is when I look at these things, it's not as though the concepts do feel fresh, right? A lot of times the concepts do feel fresh, but ultimately here, what you see is that they're not fresh, they're basically isolated from something else and expanded upon.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at your games, your huge games, your Balatros, your roguelike games and stuff like this, they're grabbing something from another unit and saying like, I think people liked this about this game. I think they liked this about Diablo, right? And I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to build around that. And what they're finding is that prime audience that we are, it's like, yes, this is what I liked about this game, right? Versus like what you're talking about, what has GTA become? GTA has become, we don't really have a core ethos at this point. It's as much stuff as we can sort of pack in where none of the individual components play as well as, and it's like, this does not play like an F1 racing game, but it's good enough.
It's good enough.
it's good enough because you also want to be able to. It's this, but you steal their version of the Toyota Celica, right?
Right.
I don't remember what it was called. It had a specific name in the games. They always had those specific names,
Just
but
goofy names.
yeah. It's like this is the Santa Monica Pier, right? Almost a one for one.
Pretty close.
There's stuff like this. It's like okay, I get it. So you've sort of evolved
So
with it.
California was an island, which was kind of weird.
Right. It's in the same way like the fucking like it's like the Xanth books where it's like, oh, this takes place in fantasy Florida.
What was the
But
version of GTA where if you drove off the map, it just turned you around on the highway?
oh
That was
Jesus,
GTA, wasn't it?
I don't.
Yeah, okay.
It's possible. I don't
I can't
remember.
remember. I just remember that feature being particularly clever.
It didn't.
So
So GTA, to their credit, they don't have a deserters will be shot.
that was
Mess-
Cyberpunk. Yeah, that was Cyberpunk. Yeah. Or that was Red Dead 2, where if you wandered into the old map, you just get randomly shot at, and
yeah.
eventually it would kill you.
Well, I'm talking about like the mess. I can't remember which war game it was where when you were playing it, if you wandered off the map, it's like,
Battlefield.
deserters will be
That
shot.
was, that was Battlefield.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was Battlefield 1.
That was their artificial wall. But yeah, so I mean that's trick of that here, and it could be that GTA 6 is sort of the last gasp for this, but there's also a component where it's obviously going to do well. I'm starting to wonder if it's going to. The big surprise was how well and how long GTA 5 did. Right? That's the
I don't
surprise
think
on
they
this.
expected that at all.
I don't think it's going to do that. I just don't. I don't see it.
I don't know either. And then I mean, I so like it's hard to actually determine exactly where the market sits anymore.
Yeah,
So because everybody talks about gaming as a monolithic market, and it is completely not.
it's anything but.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is way more diverse than movies. And say, oh, it's huge, blah, all the people do it. But like I go and 10 years ago, I could talk to my students and I know exactly what games they were playing, and we
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it'd be just
Yep.
fine. Now I talk to them, and most of them are like, yeah, I don't game. So it's like, do you play games on your phone? Oh, I do that all the time. It's like,
Right.
okay, got it. So um, well, that's actually most of them just fucking gamble now.
That's kind of the point. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, well,
most of
so
them just fucking gamble.
this is that's sort of the weird thing is was this the actual itch that they were scratching in you the whole time ago? And
Yeah,
obviously, I mean, how many games did we play back in the day that had a gambling element to them?
a lot. Yeah, more than half. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Let
They
alone
just
the
put that out there
straight
on
up
Front Street if
Vegas
that's what you
stakes
want. Yeah,
games. Yeah, it's
yeah.
where you actually were gambling. When you weren't fucking around on the escalator.
What do you do when they actually make a better gambling simulator than your gambling simulator because you're actually fucking
Because you're
gambling?
actually fucking gambling.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. I saw a stat on that the other day that was just mind blowing. It was like 50% of all Americans last year placed some kind of bet.
It's terrifying, dude.
It explains a lot.
It's terrifying.
Because I can afford a place to live.
This is. I don't know what to say on this one, man. There's a piece. I felt like I feel like this would come up way more on like Caleb Hammer's show, but it has to be a significant undercurrent of American financial woes in some way. If this
Yeah.
is
Dude, it hit like I don't know about Calix because I don't watch this show, religiously because screaming.
you know what, to be fair, the people that are getting dunked on the clips that you'll see probably aren't your gambling class.
No, they're not in your gambling class. So, and lately he's been doing a lot more relationship stuff, which is just kind of like, okay, I'm not interested in that. I don't care who's cheating on who or whatnot, blah, blah, blah. It's like, show me the money. Where's the money?
Right.
Yeah. But on Dave Ramsey's show, which I listen to a lot, it they screen a lot of the gamblers out.
Oh,
Okay, because
got it.
like because it's like okay, so you call into the show and you go through your thing before you go on, and it's like, oh well, obviously your problem is this, so call
Yeah.
these guys. Okay, get some help with this, blah blah blah. we're not going to have like Dave talk about this on the air for the 9 millionth time,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing. So, but it's still it's a pretty big deal. Um, it's actually affecting other markets. So yeah, I mean, clearly it's affected the crypto market. So because a lot of people have
yep,
migrated out of that.
yep.
So that was the thing, is crypto was going to work when the normies were there, but they're leaving so actively. And then the same thing's true with some other forms of investing, quote investing, that are kind of on the downswing, because I think a lot of that money's just migrating over to, uh, fucking online gambling platforms.
Yeah.
Um, more so than it used to in the past. So, but yeah, you're right. It should come up on Caleb Hammer's show a little bit more often.
You'd think it
I've
would.
seen it happen on there a couple times. Um, Other than the ones that people are gambling on, like fucking Pokemon cards and shit.
Yeah.
So, but like actual sports gambling. The other thing about that is, like, sports gambling is actually relatively easy to hide.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's relatively easy to hide. Because you can open accounts directly with those and then fund them off credit. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
So yeah, that is sort of a tough one, man. That's kind of a my brain struggles to reconcile that one. This is sort of a crystal meth sort of thing for me, where as far as what my gut says, in terms of what I generally believe in society, there's a piece of me that says human beings should essentially have the freedom to do what they want to do. The rest of society should have the freedom to judge the hell out of them if they choose that. Um, but as far as generally speaking, like most things, I say legalize it, let things sort it out. There's a part of me that looks at the gambling thing and says, like, I don't know if we can handle this. I don't know if this is.
No, well, I'm well to the right of you on those things. So, yeah, yeah. Safe, legal, and rare. Yeah. Are you over 21? No? Okay. No, not for you. So, and I mean, I've watched weed wreck neighborhoods in this state.
That's sort of. I
So,
mean, that's sort of
and
where
that was
the
supposed to be a
practicality
harmless
kicks in.
drug.
Yeah.
And so if you go back to 2012 when they're passing all that shit, yeah, it's pretty fucking harmless. But, hindsight is 2020. It's pretty obvious to see, like, how you got absolutely lethal weed in this state, followed by a fucking ocean of fentanyl. Now,
Right.
it's kind of like, all right, that actually makes a lot of sense. Nobody was making that case back when Amendment 64 got
No,
adopted.
not at all.
Yeah, it was all
No.
about libertarianism and fucking, put too many guys in jail for the third offense, blah, blah, blah. And let alone it's just weed. It's not that dangerous, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And all those arguments were true, but the consequences turned out to be quite a bit different, because all you had to do was just do a couple, like, second, third order effect, like, just think about possibilities and ask yourself, all right, if there's a 10% chance that the fucking cartels take the whole thing over
Yes.
and then use it as a way to launder money outside of the country
Yes.
and set up enormous networks of fucking, trafficked human beings, because it's a lot more profitable to get human beings across the border now than it is to get weed, because you just grow it here.
Right.
Okay. If there's a 10% chance that happens, are you willing to take that chance? So, oh, that won't happen. There's 90% chance that it won't. It's like, yeah, yeah, I hear you, man. And I get your math on it. So, but it's not worth it.
Well,
And legalize gambling across the board. I mean, it basically is.
pretty
So,
much.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. I mean, and it gets taxed, so the government's not going to squeal about it too much.
That's sort of the problem with it. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's very difficult to get it out of the system once you allow that in the system. They can count on the revenue. The other thing,
Mhm.
Patrick, is, and I'm sure that you've looked at this here too, because the other thing is going to be, all right, so with the weed thing, what are the counterexamples? One of the things I haven't come across here is, oh, well, it messed up in Colorado, but over here it's doing just fine.
No, you don't
I
see that anywhere,
I have
man.
not seen an example where that's really been playing out well. What I
Mm.
have also seen here is, I do believe it was Seattle. I think Seattle was the place that basically decriminalized everything.
Oh yeah, that went terribly.
It did go terribly.
That went
It
terribly.
went it went even worse than people thought.
Yeah, they're even mad at their mayor now. Finally. Yeah.
Yeah, that little clip of her saying like, "Ha, you guys can go ahead and leave then," is
That
really,
didn't work.
yeah, it's sort
That
of,
did not work.
it is being played at every recall election movement commercial. Rightly so,
Yeah.
rightly so. And yeah, this is sort of the trick on this is, yeah, my head says that we can handle this, but well, no, my heart says that we can handle it. My head says, why am I not running this country like the schools I talk about?
Right. Yeah. Well, you're not in charge, so.
Why does not everybody in this country have one of four set hairstyles?
Right. Yeah. And no tattoos.
You can have them,
You're
but
right.
it means that you've gone outside the system and you've chosen to label yourself, flag yourself for PvP. Is
PvP. Other
you
people
have
deserve.
declared yourself one of the 1%. And it should, all right, when I was watching Unsolved Mysteries in the 1980s, right? If Robert Stack was telling you who to look out for because he robbed this gas station,
Right.
he
Yeah.
would say, he's a man in his late 20s. He wears this,
Right.
has a tattoo of a snake on his left arm. See, that should still be a distinguishing mark.
Right. Yeah. So he's often seen with stubble.
Right.
He likes to use words like dude and bro.
Yeah, that's sort of a weird thing. Is did my did my society Sodom and Gomorrah itself um, in just one generation? Obviously, I don't think
No,
so.
of course not, man. It's not that bad. So it's just another thing that people have to learn the hard way. So,
Well, we have to
add
learn.
it to the list.
I Well, yes, okay, it is one thing to add to the list here, but yes, there are. If I'm going to look at problems here, it's going to
That's
start.
pretty far down the
It's
list.
going to start with people on social media saying that this woman couldn't have committed these murders because of her astrological sign, and that it.
Tells me everything I need to know. Yeah.
There's a version of this where I'm like, how did this happen? How did so many people in your life? I was like, well, I know why it happened, but how did so many people in society not jump in and say, like, you guys are fucking
They're
retarded?
not online.
Oh,
Yeah, they didn't see that tweet. So yeah. Now she brings it up around the dinner table. They're gonna look at her like you're fucking stupid.
you
So
would be surprised
I
exactly how many women are obsessed with astrological shit.
no, I wouldn't be surprised. That's always been true. So yeah.
Then it's a failing
Dude,
that
my
people
mom
have
was
been.
into that shit. Come on, man. She grew up in a Christian Reformed church. So she still cut out your fucking horoscope out of the Gazette every single year on your birthday.
And
Yeah.
look, and my mother still does palm readings, but I mean that's the.
All right, you win. Does she do the tarot too?
She does not do the tarot.
Okay.
She There's a Korean version of it.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm sure there's more than one, Jeff.
She doesn't do them with the with the formal cards the size of like index cards.
Yeah, exactly. Some fucking magazine covers.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, their cards are considerably smaller.
The airplane cards. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the tiny ones. Those are, but they have different shapes on them and stuff like that. But
Different moon symbols.
I do know. Yeah, that's the weird thing is the pig with like an amulet or like a talisman. No, 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 no. It's um, yeah, a talisman. There's a pig with a talisman, and that's like the lucky card. I'm
Cool.
like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Which is funny because all of these things that we just discussed in the Bible are witchcraft. Um,
Yeah, they're all heresy.
they're
Yeah,
divination, and that is it's sorcery.
it's idol worship, Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you're supposed to melt those down
You are.
for parts.
Moses talked about that briefly, but
Oh no, he
poignantly.
actually did it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, it wasn't just words.
like that dude wasn't just fucking flipping tables and shit.
No,
That
no, no.
was
He's Emperor Lightning.
as was granted to him.
That was granted still without blows. Let's say I have something.
No, this is all true. But yeah, there's way too much tolerance of like fucking astrology in this society.
Dude, that
Way
goes
too
way
much.
back, man. That is nothing new. I mean, we grew up in a time where like fucking D&D was bad, so we were at ebb time. But I mean,
Oh,
dude, you
we
forget that
surrendered
like
it.
fucking Abraham Lincoln's wife had readings daily in the White House, trying to communicate with her dead children.
As did Reagan.
Yeah, actually, well, yeah, my understanding was that was a little bit more Nancy, but yeah,
Had
so
a spiritual advisor on call.
he did.
Yeah,
So and Jerry Falwell online too. Yeah, yeah,
there is that.
there is
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
but it was that's the kind of thing that Jerry Falwell, in theory, should have been kind of like, you must hang up on that woman. He is not to be spoken with. That is.
She's devil.
It is. I'm sorry. It's now again. Do I care that people dabble in this? No.
No.
Do I care that there's been $1 million raised for a person who's currently on trial for 3 murders? I will tell you the other thing that blew my mind.
Isn't that a form of sports betting?
Yes, it is. It's again.
Yeah.
That's
It's like, oh yeah, I better put $5 on my team. They might win.
this is again.
That's
So
exactly what that
so
was.
back in the day, you were there for it. You were there when Will was trying to build the ultimate spreadsheet. You were there,
Right.
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When he was comparing notes and trying to build the ultimate gambling spreadsheet, the same shit here. Where you're like, okay, so she stands accused of murdering 3 children, telling her husband to go away,
Mhm.
so she could do this pre-planned event. This is the evidence so far. Where's it being tried? Okay, Massachusetts. Does Massachusetts have any specific laws on this that are different from, say, like, I don't know, Plano, Texas? Yes, it does. As a matter of fact, you have to prove that the person was in a like lucid state of mind,
Mhm.
right? Versus the other way,
You have to
right?
prove that you're crazy.
Right,
Right.
right. You have to prove their lucidity, right? Uh, God, how much does that affect the odds? I don't know, but I think I've got it, and I think I'm willing to plunk down $200 on this.
There you go. But you don't win anything.
What, $200?
Well, no. I mean, if you donate to her.
Oh no, no, I'm talking about the people voting.
Oh
Or,
well, I'm talking.
gambling.
No, I'm
Yes,
talking
yes,
about people
yes.
who are actually like putting $200.
Oh
in
no,
that
no,
thing
no, no.
because just like throwing $200 at your team, so you like because you want the win more than that $200.
Patrick,
So
look, I don't think the people that are donating, I don't think the circumstances matter. I think that in the same way
oh
that
no,
I can use the Carmelo Anthony trial very much of this. I'm like, guys, this is not the one you want to put your money behind.
no, you don't.
I presume that you heard with the nature of the thankfully denied retrial event that came up here.
Mm-mm.
Were you made aware of the text messages that were?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so
Is this the same trial?
the appeal was for a retrial, right?
This is the lady who killed her kids.
No, Carmelo Anthony
Okay,
was
sorry. All right, you're switching gears here. Gotcha.
right, right.
Yeah.
This
I didn't even know he was on trial right
well, he was already tried and convicted.
now. Okay, I didn't know that. Either.
Okay, he was already tried, convicted, sentenced to 30 years. So they
Oh, you're not talking about basketball player. You're talking about that guy in Texas.
correct.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
All right. Sorry.
Okay, so he appealed asking for a retrial. That was the hearing that they had. Now, they had disqualified the previous judge, saying that this person can't be on for the retrial hearing.
No, they can't.
Well, actually, he could. It's
Oh, I
just
thought that
that
was a rule.
nope. But it turns out he was disqualified because, and this again, I wouldn't have said this. I don't know if I'd disqualify for this, but I guess he did an interview after the session,
Mhm.
and I guess an interviewer asked him if the jury got it right, and he said, "I think they did." Now, to me, I'm like, you know what? You could go either way, but I think in terms of maintaining fairness, I think it's okay to go ahead and disqualify this. So they brought on some other person.
I don't use any logic in the application of law.
Fair enough. All right.
I've learned not to do
I think
that.
from a perspective, I think there's a version of this where like, all right, I can see that in the name of fairness, that could make sense. So they brought this new person on, and they had their retrial hearing. What they had was
To see whether or not they were going to have a
have a
retrial.
retrial.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
And so what they did on this was they ended up showing the evidence that wasn't used.
Was it way worse?
So evidently, there was a gentleman's agreement between the prosecution and the defense when it came to introducing the text messages of young Carmelo Anthony,
Mhm.
whereupon they didn't want to go after his character that way.
Mhm.
Now, what they ended up masking, and again, I can hardly see the benefit of this. The only thing I guess they were doing was they were trying to stop from going into both his and the victim's old text messages to try and draw too many inferences by previous messages that were sent. And it was like, if you don't introduce this, we won't introduce this, and we'll play it that way. And I guess they agreed to that. Now, what they ended up releasing
Mhm.
was that um, young Carmelo Anthony mentioned many times about fantasies about wanting to kill people, wanting to do violence. Uh, it had been brought to the attention of the school that he was stalking his ex girlfriend
Mhm.
uh, with the intent of killing her, and quote unquote wanting to lick the blade off the knife or blood off the knife. So there was a bevy of fucking psychotic messaging in this shit here. And the thing that gets to me is the same people that contributed while he was on trial, when all the facts came out, when the video came out, when all the testimony came out, whatever said, no, this is like he's my homeboy and he did this, right?
Mhm.
When all that happened, the same group of people were defending it from start to finish, which is sort of it's the same thing. It's like they're not defending this person in the same way this whole postpartum thing is not being defended because of the facts of the case. It's been on the identity of the person on trial,
Yeah, of course.
right?
Yeah.
So it's not none of this stuff has anything to play with this here, and it's still going to be the same embarrassing situation that it was before.
Okay. Mhm. I mean, yeah. So it'll play out the way that it plays out, man. So I guess I just like I don't know why you'd waste your money, unless you have extra scratch, and just like, well, that's not what it is. It's just it's become harder to get people to admit when they're wrong about something. It has become distinctively more difficult to do that than it was 20 years ago.
I don't think it was easy to do 20 years ago.
I don't say it was easy to do. I just said it's become harder. Um, yeah, there's like especially that's one of the things about living out loud on the internet and stuff like that is, man, do you get roasted when you go back on something. So
Oh yeah,
you really
yeah,
do, man. And
yeah,
so there is a strong disincentive, or I guess a strong incentive to double down on
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
And, I mean, but sunk cost fallacy is not a new phenomenon,
Nope.
you know. So, well, we've seen that with basically a running 11 years of Trump presidencies now, you
Yes.
know. So, and you're watching him do it in Iran right now, which is hilarious. So, unfortunately so, but still. Um, yeah, it's just it's hard to back away anymore, especially when everybody's watching you. So
Well, so this
it's just
was
like no grace for someone saying, "Oh fuck, I was wrong." You're like, "Yeah, Roberto, you should have did it first time." Blah, blah, blah. There's no payoff in it. Yeah.
well, I guess so. Here's the thing: is the last guy I can remember doing that straight up sort of like mea culpa,
Mhm.
and not even so much in a way where it was like an I was wrong. It was like upon reevaluation of this, we got to do this. It cost him the entire election.
Who's that?
Herbert Walker Bush.
Oh, was it that long ago?
Yeah, that's the last person I can remember who.
What did he say he did wrong?
So what he did was he campaigned on no new taxes. What
Oh,
and
yeah, that's true.
he mea culpa on that, and he was actually again with the dignity that only a
Yeah,
uh, politician from fucking 30 years ago can have.
yeah.
Said like, hey, that was the situation back then, right?
Yeah, but like, see, that's a funny election, man. So because like, okay, so yeah, he raised taxes, but he also did it because he's like, all right, well, we just fought this war, we got to pay for it.
That's the point.
Yeah, of course, and everybody was behind the war, and stuff like that, except for a few assholes here and there, but whatever. Um,
But the media crucified him for it.
the media did crucify him for it, but that's because they were in love with Bill Clinton. But the real reason he lost the election was Ross Perot. So if you forgot, so that motherfucker pulled like 17%. So
That's insanity.
dude, in 1996 he pulled 30. That's crazy. There's a everybody said, oh, you need a third party. They learned their lesson. you know. So Bill Clinton was the first president in ages to get elected without a popular vote. So without a majority of the popular vote. We'll
Mm,
put it that way.
mm.
So now amongst the three candidates, he had the most people who voted for him. So some people, oh, that's the popular vote. But he was the first guy, not to reach that threshold.
Right,
Yeah, because
right.
and that was due to Ross Perot. And then they went back and looked at it, and they said, "Oh, okay, well, almost all those guys would have voted for Bush."
Right,
So same thing
right.
in 2000. So like, if fucking Ralph Nader wasn't in that race, fucking we wouldn't have had a George W. Bush. So it would have been like President Al Gore when 9/11 happened. How different the world would have been
I don't even want to speculate. It's
if but
it's
for
it's
300
too.
hanging chads in fucking Florida
It's.
and two Supreme Court justices.
I do not know how to take that one. I do
This is
not.
why you don't predict
Yeah,
shit, man.
yeah.
I mean, it's just like weird shit that happens. So yeah, but yeah, no, well, it's just really bad. It's really hard to back away from stuff like that. And then on top of a lot of it, man, I mean, so I read this great book like last week. It was a quick read, kind of thing. It was done by this DSA operative who had defected out of it, and she was talking about the influencer class in particular.
Yeah,
On this one, and it's just money. It's just money,
yeah,
money, 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 money.
yeah.
And so, like if I have a TikTok or a YouTube channel or whatever, and I'm going to throw in $300 to Carmelo Anthony's, or I'm going to match whatever you guys do.
Yeah.
It's all that's an investment, you know. And I mean, that's a really cynical way to look at it, but I think that's the way I need to start looking at it a little bit more. Just because it adds a little bit more clarity to some of this craziness because I don't even know the contours of the Carmelo Anthony case, not nearly as much as you do. But I'm telling you, like, there's legal things that are going. I don't know why they didn't use those and why they agreed to that. I'm sure there's a reason for it. So it probably makes sense to the lawyers, which is like me understanding ancient Egyptian, in some respects. So, and especially because then you layer on it, okay, so this was a case that took place in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so somebody down there's got to run for election, on this, probably the DA, who knows how that plays into it. I'm not there. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, then for me sitting like in, my fucking posh apartment in the Tenderloin, making TikTok videos and throwing $1,000 into this kitty that grows to 1 million. That doesn't really, that doesn't give me that much cause for concern. Okay. I mean, because like I can't go over to the local watering hole here and say, hey, how much did you get? I'm not going to find anybody who's going to say yes to
You're not. You're not.
that. You
Okay.
know?
Okay. So this is all right. I'll throw this out here like this. So the one I'm sure that you probably heard about was what is it? Jason Ardway, the Cambridge professor that was
Yeah, I
okay.
have
So
thoughts on this, man. But
okay. So
I did go down that road.
before I jump into anything, tell me what your thoughts are on this guy and what
I,
about the situation.
okay, so I see a guy who um, is obviously suffering from some form of delusion.
We'll start with that.
But I
Okay.
see a whole bunch of people who are cheering him on. And
Yes.
coming from a place like Cambridge,
Yes.
those motherfuckers should be ashamed of themselves. So I would squarely put his death, well, after him, on them. you know,
Why?
because like, okay, so I mean, you talk about setting up a guy for failure. From the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, this is
Right.
what you're doing when you're not actually forcing someone to jump through the hoops, and there's no problem encouraging through and like pushing him through them, and even dragging him through them at some point in time. But he's got to go through. He's got to actually stand up and step through them on his own. And if you get a copy, I mean, I looked at his fucking dissertation,
Yeah.
and I was like, holy shit.
You
So,
could not have missed this.
no, you could not have missed this.
Okay.
And so, like, okay, so I've sat on dissertation chairs or dissertation committees. I've been through one. Okay. You're not doing anybody any favors by cutting them slack. Okay. On those things.
Right.
Okay. Because then, like, and I don't have any colleagues that fall in this category that I know of. So I'm sure there's a couple of them that exist. But that imposter syndrome thing is a real fucking thing, especially if you are an imposter.
Well, so this is. I just want to get your take on this one here. This is obviously you're not testifying to this or anything,
No.
but the question I have for you here is there any way that nobody knew this?
Well, okay. Well, what do you mean by nobody? So if I'm a colleague of his at that school and he gets hired into my department, no, I'm not going to go tear through all of his shit.
No. Okay.
So
When it came
if
to
I'm hiring
if
him,
you're hiring this person, is there any way that you did not know this?
if you're on his hiring committee, there is no fucking way you did not know that.
Okay.
So if you were on his dissertation committee, there is no way you didn't fucking know that. So, okay. So, all right. So amongst that, we're talking about maybe like 6 to 8 individuals.
Yes.
We're not talking about entire academic superstructure here.
Right.
But we're talking about 6 to 8 people who have some serious fucking questions to answer. So,
Is there any version of this where there would be an acceptable answer this person could give to hand wave that?
it depends on how much they would actually be exposed to it.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, if I was on the committee,
Yeah.
and we do the vote, are we going to hire this person? And I vote no, I want that registered, kind of thing. But then if the committee says, yeah, we're going to hire him, I'm like, okay. So
Right.
I'm the dissent here.
Yeah.
All right. So that's done in confidence. And then the same thing's true with the dissertation. There's no way he should have gotten through the dissertation committee with
Okay.
that dissertation.
Okay.
I mean, dude, that thing, it is so, first of all, it's very basic. It's very basic. And then the second thing about it is it's just like it is absolutely a patronizing pat on the head, where it's just so much better as an educator to say, I see what you're working with here. I don't think it's enough. What are your ideas to make this better? And how can I help you with that? And I don't think I don't think too many people told me.
Okay.
So, and I
Okay.
think that's how that turned into the thing. I ran 300 fucking miles in 3 days or whatever.
So
And raised $1 billion for fucking, starving puppies or whatever.
okay. So the next step on this one here, when it comes to hiring these people, you can speak to this with some certainty, right?
Oh, I'm not in England, but sure.
Well, no. Okay, but
They might do it entirely differently. I don't know.
okay, I'll give you that. But the things that were essentially out and out, full on fabrications of his resume, okay? would you and your group have investigated those things?
On the resume, probably not.
Right.
So on the CV, if he lists 10 different publications on there, we would pull those. Okay, we would pull his transcripts. And if he came from the London School of blah, 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 and they said, okay, he did a dissertation on yada, 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 and we awarded it to him,
Right.
that actually does carry some weight. I mean, we might look at that dissertation and say,
I understand that,
yeah.
but basically, with the titles that he'd written and saying that he was there doing this, it's like you were never here, this never happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
Would that have come up?
I doubt it. I doubt it because, quite honestly, in an academic post, nobody gives a fuck about your jobs or your outside,
Right.
contribution. They don't care if you're a marathon runner or anything like that. They're not going to go check that shit out.
Okay.
They're gonna go comb through all your publications. They're gonna absolutely track down your fucking references. So
Okay.
I've had to do that many times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on top of that, here, one of the other things I'm pretty sure that you're required to do, right? So say, for example, okay, if you were to, as a professor, right? If you had a professor that had essentially like, let's say just like a sex offense,
Oh, we'd find that.
how would you find out?
Oh, we always run a background check.
Okay, so
I mean, that's a requirement here. Again, England, don't know.
could be different.
Could be.
I doubt it,
I don't know.
but that's a possibility.
If someone had a sex offense, they would not get a job. So yeah.
Because you would
Clearly.
be liable if you hired this person and he did something, correct?
No, not necessarily. But we do have we have a policy that we will not hire people who have that.
All right, fair enough.
So,
Fair enough.
if they slip through it, but I mean, okay, so that's easy. I mean, a criminal background check in the United States is like 15 fucking bucks.
Yeah.
So, and it searches all counties in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not exactly that hard to do.
No.
So, yeah.
But it is something that would be done, right? So
That would totally be done.
okay. But to me, at least to me, a lot of the glaring things that were on there would probably get looked at. I'm just guessing.
I'm guessing it's also possible that he put them on there after he got hired. So I've seen that happen.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's that.
That's possible. And then on top of it, I mean, your actual CV is different than your resume. I mean, on a CV, you don't really put job experience in any kind of detail.
Just years.
I have, if that. So, and I mean, it might be like broad bands of years. I've seen them where they just list them in chronological order.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, most people, and he was no exception to this, when you go into academics, you've actually done nothing else. So it's, kind of considered rude to sit in there and like flag your dick at traffic, because you've got 15 years of industry experience. I mean, we do it anyway.
Okay. All right.
So, but like his other claims about, raising money and stuff, there's no way I could verify that, and nor would I even try in most circumstances. But the point is you wouldn't even have to look at any of that shit. All you'd have to do is look at his academic contributions. So, and be like, holy crap. All right. So,
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe he was a fantastic teacher and he had awesome teaching reviews or something. I don't fucking know. So, I mean, that would get me to overlook some of that stuff. But quite honestly, I mean, you're talking about.
Well, he didn't do that much teaching.
Well, a lot of people at Cambridge don't.
Yeah.
So,
as a matter of fact, the people that had him as a professor when he did that said he was awful.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's
actually counts more in my book than any of the other shit. But so I have a thing against people who teach.
That makes sense. All right. So generally speaking, okay, at least from your standpoint here, you would have put in a dissenting vote, regardless.
Yeah.
Or basically a vote against if dissenting is depending on what everybody else would have done, right? So ultimately here, how, even without your experience in the field, is it obvious? Would it be obvious to an outsider we're like, this dude's a fraud. This dude was a fraud. This dude should have been identified as a fraud a long time ago?
To an outsider, probably not. So
it was fucking clear to me.
Well, yeah, but you dug into it. I mean, we're talking about, and that was after he killed himself,
Oh no, this has been about this before he killed himself.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, but that's after because what was it? It was like maybe So this hit my radar, but maybe like 2, 3 months ago.
Yeah, this is
Because
not. Yeah,
yeah, it was 2, 3 months ago, and then the whole furor started. But I actually follow. So there's two people who kind of outed him, and one of them I follow her pretty closely. So, and she's a former academic. She's actually very, very well published, kind of thing. And she was pointing this out, kind of thing. And then like everybody kind of jumped on that after that. So, but he had already been there for a couple of years at that
yeah,
point in time.
yeah.
And so, like fast forward, rewinded a year ago, would he stand out amongst the crowd? I doubt it.
Well, this is
Yeah,
sort
I
of
doubt it
this.
because they're. I mean, obviously, they're passing this guy up so that they can so they can round out their overall idea of what it is they want. What did he teach anyway? He was a philosophy guy, sociology. He was a professor of sociology, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it was, but again, to say that he was teaching it is kind of a misnomer. It was he
Well,
was he was
teaching and professing are
yeah,
two different
yeah.
things.
So
Unfortunately,
I'll leave it at that. But
yeah.
okay, so
So I don't know if he really would have stood out like a sore thumb, but you know, like
his defining feature at
yeah,
Cambridge, their bragging point was this is the youngest black
young
professor that we've
black
ever had.
professor who couldn't read until he was in ninth grade or whatever. Well, and colleges fall for that shit all the time. They love that rags to riches kind of story because almost everybody in a college faculty goes from riches to rags.
That's right. Or they just go
So,
basically riches to riches.
riches to slightly less riches. So it's a prestige job for a lot of people, and especially in a school like Cambridge. Come on, man.
Yes.
So now, would that fly in like a hard science? Fuck no. So you do that in the physics department, math department at Cambridge, there's no fucking way. So, but I mean, there's a lot of disciplines that you can hide in and get yourself a pretty cushy cush job. Um, and nobody really challenges it. And, but that's the thing about being a professor is if you're full of shit, people, they're, they're absolutely entitled to call you out on it. So, and he got called out, and then it got worse and worse and worse because he realized he actually hadn't done anything, you know.
Right. So
So,
the to take this where I was originally going to go with this, right, is after he killed himself, there was a demonstration in England
yeah,
with I don't remember how big the group was. It was we're not talking 10,000 strong, but I believe it was something like to the tune of like 1,000 people showed up,
mm-hmm.
right? And here's the thing, Patrick. This is where, especially in the past week of trying to disconnect with this stuff, is in the same way that when it comes to the people who showed up for the Carmelo Anthony trial, the same people, the same women who are out there outside the courthouse for the postpartum trial, right? I'm convinced a lot of this is completely astroturfed.
Oh, it's 100% after.
Completely fucking
Yeah.
astroturfed. Because there is no way that a person, if you're like you're talking about when this started coming up 2 to 3 months ago,
Mm.
you could look at this and say like, all right, well this is perhaps racially motivated. This could be something like this. I could see it. There is no way after the fact, with in hindsight of what's come out
Mm.
with that guy, what's been traced, there's no version of this where a rational person could look at this and say like, he's just being persecuted for being black. Not a fucking chance.
No, not in his case. No, I mean, some people probably would, but
But they're going to anyway.
yeah, they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
right. Yeah, they're going to do it anyway. They just, jump to the conclusion, don't read the story, kind of thing. And like that's a lot of egg on the face of that department, man. And so, it's it,
Well,
it
there are still
and I mean,
people
you're literally
in the
talking
department
about.
defending it.
Well, of course they're going to. So I mean,
Oh well, most of the people they talked to were kind of like, yeah, this was bullshit.
well, it depends on who they're talking to in that department.
The school more than
Okay,
anything
so
else.
that's a
Yeah,
little bit different.
yeah.
Departments and schools are each their own ships. I guarantee you that pirate ship has got its ranks closed on it.
Most of
But
the people they asked at the school were like, fuck him.
yeah,
But there are certain people that are still kind of like very much defending the guy.
well, yeah, they don't want to be seen as the bad guy either.
No, be seen
So
as a bad guy.
no, they don't want to do that. So it's like, well, yeah, it's a tragedy and yada yada. I'm sorry, I got to get back to office hours.
Well, okay, so option number one would like I wasn't there. I can't comment on that.
Yeah,
Best
exactly.
answer.
It's like I need you to actually go through my department head if you want to. You get a straight answer on that because I'm not privy to everything that went
Second best answer is fuck him. He gives us all a bad name.
on. Yeah, I would. I know. No, man, that's not worth the fight.
That is a fight. No, man. In the same.
That's why you and I are different, man. So I'm like, I like my job. I'm going to be cool.
Same thing. Look again. It's to go to the
It's
Carmelo
more
Anthony
important that
case,
I
man.
feed my family than it is that I actually fucking stand on principle.
You don't look at a killer in Texas and say this was a young boy. It's like no, fuck him. He gives us all a bad name. It's like I'm sick of being treated wrongly because of what fucking idiots like this do. Same thing goes with some bitch kills 3 girls or 3 kids, right? Gets people going. No, that you don't sit there and say like, oh, this I'm going to go throw ice, because I'm mad at my postpartum situation. It's like, no, I had kids. I felt it. Fuck her. She makes all of us look crazy.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that.
Fuck that.
I've seen a lot of people come out of the woodworks.
Fuck all that, man.
I guess like I don't know. There's a piece of it. It's just like you gotta pick your fights, and some of them just are like, nah, yep, I'll let you go fight that one.
Fucking the mayor of Boston, she is this fucking just completely radical left Asian woman, right? And when she starts talking about Asian rights, I'm like, fuck this bitch. No, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop this. When she went out there and declared, it's like, no, this meeting's for this gatherings for Asians only. I'm like, no, man. Fuck that. Fuck you. It's like, stop making us look like we don't do this.
Never heard of that.
It's like, we don't do this. It's
I've
like,
never even heard of that.
it's like
Kick all the white
fuck all
people
that.
out.
No, it's like kick them. It's like you've seen the difference between the way my mom speaks to Koreans, the way she speaks to white people.
I did actually do a little check on somebody a couple of weeks ago on that one. He's talking about like what's the most racist nation on the planet? Oh, America, clearly. I was like, you know what? I want you to do something for me real quick. This is like I want you to get on a Google Earth or Google Maps, and I want you to go down to Street View. Anyways, just pick any place, maybe about 10 miles out of the center of Shanghai.
Yeah.
And I want you to find a restaurant. And then I want you to point the camera at that restaurant. And I want you to have it translate the signs. So I want you to do that until you find something about Japanese, blacks, or dogs. Because I guarantee you the word before that is going to be no.
So I have.
And I was like, you don't need to go there to actually do this. I mean, you could probably do it on your phone right now.
Thing loads awfully fast.
This
used to be a weekend's worth of homework to get these images to load.
Yeah. You used to have to pen pal someone to figure this out.
So I do have some unique insight to share on this specifically from the Japanese this week.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now I'm going to tell you, I managed to ask this week exactly one Japanese question during my session, during the hour that I had this person, and that was specifically, this is going to get into the weeds technically. I'll make it brief.
Okay.
The way Japanese works here when it talks about verbs, okay? If you're talking about the tenses in a sentence, if you're saying, did this happen now? Is it the infinite? Is it in the past? Right? That is determined essentially by the last verb in the sentence.
Okay.
So in the meantime, you use the te form, which is basically the continuing. You use this as a bridge. It has other uses, but that's the crux of it. What I was asking about that question was, let's suppose that you have a quotation within the sentence. Okay? Does the grammar of the sentence supersede the quotation grammar, or does the grammar of the quotation act independently of the sentence?
Okay.
Her answer, I don't know.
Okay.
Because she said it's rare to have that much going on after the sentence to where typically the sentence ender is also commensurate with the
sync.
It's like, okay, I don't know for sure. I just haven't seen it as an example. I'm like, in all the reading I've done, I've come across it once to the point where I have a question. But I got that answer. She said she'd look into it more. What we really talked about is we started talking about, because she lives in Hawaii, but she's been in Japan the past like 4 weeks, not going back for a while.
Mhm.
Why? Because her prefecture was impacted by that earthquake,
Earthquake, yeah.
right? So we talked about earthquakes for a little bit, um, talked about different policies, talked about the different prefectures, and it came on to eventually it was, what do y'all think about other Japanese people? It's like, what do you mean? Like, so I know this isn't a huge island.
Country mouse, city mouse thing.
Well, it wasn't a country mouse, city mouse thing, but I was like, do you look at like Okinawans differently?
Oh,
It's like, is it true what they say?
folks on Hokkaido.
I was like, is
yeah.
it true what they say about the mutants on Hokkaido that they have?
Hair growing out of their backs. You know?
It's like that they have. I suppose it was like that they have bizarre reddish brown hair,
Oh yeah.
right? I was like, do you see them as? And I use the example of Russia, Ukraine, and the Balkans. I was like, so we look at all these people and see like, all right, put them in a lineup. All right, I've got 6 white people. I can't tell which one did this crime. But if you ask them to see their differences, they could tell, right?
Oh, I obviously they could. In Japan,
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, do the Japanese see other Japanese as, I'm going to say this as nicely as possible, substandard Japanese?
Right.
And she's like, no,
No.
no. She's like, we see the Okinawans as different because they do have different lineage,
Yeah.
right? But we don't see them as. She was very nice to basically put it in a way of like, we see us all in a way that is not you.
Yeah. Of course.
Right now,
They're all fucking barbarians. Yeah.
And so,
I could have told you that.
so as it was, because we were talking about colleges, we were talking about admissions and all this other stuff. I was like, is what they say about the college admissions thing true? Is like where the effort, the full effort, is to get into a good high school, perform really well in high school, and then college is sort of just like jerk off time, right? She's like, I don't know if I'd say it like that, but it's quite true,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the whole thing is they don't care what you're going to study; they're going to hire you based off which university.
No, get online and look at their graduation rates are amazing. So yeah.
It is. I said, well, how about being cops and firefighters? It's like, do you go to? Is there a class? It's like, I have some friends that did both. It's like, what do you do after high school? You enroll in firefighter or police academy, and then you're a policeman or firefighter.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, that's where it came into like, well, this is how they do it in LA, where if they have X amount of people of this ethnicity, you test, you wait list.
Yeah.
If a person jumps in that's of a needed ethnicity or sex, they leapfrog you. And then I said, all right, I'm going to show you one other thing here. I'm going to have you look at this data, and just you tell me what you think about it. You tell me about what conclusions you draw, how it would make you feel, and if there's a Japanese equivalent. So what I did was I pulled up you've probably seen this. It's a little bit out of date, but it's basically the acceptance rate by GPA and MCAT score in middle school.
Oh yeah, they're all jacked up.
What's jacked up about them, Pat?
They're depending on the medical school. So not all medical schools are like this.
This is an average.
Yeah, it's an average, but there's a lot of medical schools for years who are like, oh, we need more black doctors, or we need more doctors of Latino descent. Things
Yes.
like the female doctor thing is not a thing anymore. So
No, they're lousy with them. Yes.
well, no, they're actually more admittance.
Yeah.
So the standards of those have actually tightened. That's why you see a lot of them going to DMP programs instead. So but it's a racial quota. So
All right. So when I put that out in front of her, and it's like, okay, so here's the like the 20 to 24 range with this GPA and this, and she saw exactly what you're describing.
Mm-hmm.
I said, just study these things here, and what conclusions do you draw from this?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the nicest way that she could say that is she's like, okay, this goes back to what you were saying about the sociology angle. She's like, well, if this was for like philosophy, I think I'd be okay with
Yeah.
this, right? But for a doctor, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, this is
That's quite different though. Yeah.
well, so
That's quite different, man. Yeah.
what I was like,
I mean, the MCAT is fucking hard.
it
I
is.
couldn't pass it.
I think you're capable. I don't think you're geared for it.
There's no fucking way I could pass
But it's also something that's distinctly outside of your interests,
it. Very much so.
right?
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, like that and like getting your engineer certificate, your actual the fucking stamp. You know,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
those are
yeah.
fucking accomplishments. Now the bar exam, maybe. You know?
I think. Look, I think as far as capabilities go, I think you could pass all of these. I think that the question here, for guys like you and me, it's for some people the effort to reward matrix is 1 for 1. Okay, when it comes to certain when it comes to certain fields.
Oh yeah.
For you passing the MCAT, we're talking like a 3 to 1 effort to
Oh,
1,
totally. Yeah.
right? Maybe even
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
right?
Probably more.
Right. But I was like, is there any version of this that jives with anything in Japan?
Mm-mm.
And she's like, I can't think of a possible thing. Like
Mm.
this is the
Yeah, but she also pointed out there's not really any racial differences in Japan.
and that's where I was like, to go back to the mutants from Hokkaido, I'm like,
Yeah,
do you guys
yeah, yeah. To be fair, I'd be surprised how many black applicants there are to fucking Japanese medical schools. I'm sure I can count them on maybe
I think
both
it's in the
hands.
single digits. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna
You keep your left promptly by your side, man. I think
yeah.
it's going to be
Then
it's
you were
like.
good.
But yeah, she was this was, and she was like, so what is? She did say something about this, and I was like, so what is your response to this in terms of why were you taught that this is okay? Did they ever in Japan? Do they teach you anything about stuff like this? She says, okay.
Oh yeah, you come from a racist fucking country that used to hose people in the streets. So
So it's funny because she was like, um, well, the way that we were brought up to understand this is it's based off of the way that, and she wouldn't say slavery.
mhm.
It was implied, but she was like, it was based off of the way that these people were mistreated in your past,
Mhm.
right? And so there needs to be some sort of adjustment, right?
Mhm.
And so I just kind of gave her like I gave her like one last little quiz. I'm like, okay, so if I were to test you right now, I would say, what year did slavery end in the United States?
1955.
Well,
I think Ronald Reagan was president.
you ask anybody now, it's like, well, it's still in your books,
Right, yeah,
but
it's still there. Yeah.
right. And she was close, so I was like, no, that's not too far away. So well over 100 years ago, and I was like, all right. So the last thing I was like, because you see the other category on this, I'm like, do you recall us ever enslaving the Latinos?
In this country? Mm-mm.
No, you don't.
No, Chinese for a while.
We did,
Yeah, we did do that.
but we don't have to set those standards for the Chinese, do
Japanese,
we?
we did do that to them too.
Well, we didn't enslave them,
No, but we
but
just told them they had to live here and you have to work and you can't leave. Hmm.
here's the thing, Pat. Do you have to break rocks to be a slave?
No, you don't have to break
I don't
this.
think you do. I don't think
You
you
have to
do.
pick cotton for that. No, not in the deserts of California.
And so yeah, there was this. I was like, look, I'm not, and I told her, I'm like, I'm being completely neutral on this, both
No,
ways
you're
here.
not.
No, because what I said was like, all right, can you look at this and say, I can see how this was set up with good intentions, right? And that was my point. I was like, I can absolutely see
Yeah,
the good
yeah.
intentions of this here, but do you see any potential hazards from this?
Oh yeah.
Not even just, do you guys have any other doctors? right? I don't mean that in just that way. It's like,
Yeah.
are there any other problems that you can see arising from this in general? And she kind of hit it out of the park. But just to give you a perspective on how other countries see this kind of thing,
Dude,
the notion was whack as fuck.
dude, yeah. So and that's the thing is like, we see so many things through a late racialized lens.
Yes.
Which I mean, I actually I don't really have that much of a problem for it. The problem that I have is the weight we assign to it.
Right.
I mean, I like Cornell West. Like I read all his books, and he's got the great one, Race Matters, out there. And he says, you can't deny what your eyes tell you.
Mm.
So and so having a colorblind society is an impossible situation. Okay, but you can decide how much weight you assign to each one of those things. So that was his point on that one. And I mean, we were getting close to there and it got all waggy and stuff like that. But dude, everybody that I've met from another country is screaming me more racist than the average American that I've seen here. Everybody.
So,
And I mean, sometimes it's like a little bit under the surface, but sometimes it is just hung around the neck, like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I don't, like my daughter can date anybody as long as he's not Japanese, kind of thing. And it's like, really? So, and then, I mean, like, let alone like even working with like so many crews over the years from Mexico.
yes.
Okay. Oh, there is like divisions within Mexico that other people don't appreciate. So, you go and ask somebody from Mexico that same question you asked that girl from Japan. All right, they're gonna have a very different answer than what she said. We're not all Mexicans. you So, and let alone if you go even further south of the border. So, it gets kind of worse the further down you go. It gets a little bit better in some parts, but I mean, it just depends. And then, like my point about China in particular is just, I mean, like there's so many folks. You just look at like that whole neighborhood right there. Everybody keeps eyes on each other. you know.
so okay. So to just to first speak uh to the Spanish speaking societies. Again, very close friends with someone from Venezuela.
Oh yeah.
Okay, she did not want to be called Mexican.
No,
She did not want to be treated as
they
Mexican.
hate Mexicans.
She did not want to be treated as Cuban. Cubans do not want to be treated as Mexicans.
No, then
Cubans do not want to be
Puerto
treated
Ricans.
as.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very
Yeah.
correct. But the thing about it here, and this is when you talk about other cultures, is um, this was something I kind of learned on the rig. Was the guys I knew who were the most racist.
Uh-huh.
Okay, um, when they went home off the hitches,
Mhm.
they went to Montana, and they did not go to Bozeman. They
Oh,
didn't.
they went to the hills, huh?
They did not like Bozeman because
Full of Democrats.
sometimes they use that word. Sometimes they replace it with another word that kind of means Democrats,
Right.
but not really.
Yeah.
Now the truth is, when I would ask them questions about this, I would say like, okay, so tell me where you grew up, and it's like, all right, did you grow up with any black people? They would say no or one.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing: is I would argue that the biggest cause of racism is lack of exposure. Because if you say, for example, all right, if you have one and you don't like him,
Yeah.
he speaks for the entire group. If you have none, all you have is basically secondhand or media exposure to draw your conclusions or whatever your parents have told you, right?
See, I would put more weight on that.
That's
So
kind of
I see that there's a disconnect
yes,
there. As my dad can be racist and be a good dude at the same time.
correct.
But so since my dad is a good dude and he's got these weird racial views, and I haven't met anybody from, Black America,
Yes.
then obviously my dad was right about it because he was a good dude. It's this whole heritage thing that I fucking hate, about you're different than your parents. You're allowed to be different than your parents. Your dad can be a good dude and an asshole at the same time. And
Frequently
guess
is.
what? You don't have to be him. You know? So just because your dad got off the boat when he was 16 doesn't mean yet you owe some kind of allegiance to fucking Italy where you've never been. You know?
And I get it. I get it. You're
Man.
American most of the time, but when the World Cup happens, you have to fly that flag.
I get it. That's
I get
fine,
it.
man. Yeah, but come on, dude. Like, be your own dude. You know, and like, so there's two things that fix racism in this society. Exposure is one, particularly in like fucking school.
Yes.
So if you do it in elementary, and it's particularly in like middle school and high school, you're gonna be fine, dude. You know, I mean, you go to a school like anywhere else in the world, and it's gonna look like a fucking American prison. Okay, it's gonna be deeply segregated. Okay, maybe not in England. Okay, so but just about everywhere else that you go. Well, okay, once you get
Let's just
outside
say
of
London. Let's just
there,
say
you go. Okay,
yeah.
that's a different country.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a different, maybe France. All right, so you probably see a bunch of it in France too. Okay, but if you go anywhere in Africa, I guarantee you the schools are segregated. If you go to anywhere in the Middle East, I promise you they're segregated. If you go to Asia, they're segregated. Okay, you know, I mean, there's schools for us, and there's schools for people who are not us. You know?
Well, I
So
asked about
yeah.
that too. I was like, so what do you do when I was explaining like the education laws and
Mhm.
this, like having a paraprofessional and stuff? Like, what do you do in Japan when an American or a foreigner takes classes? Like, they go to a different school
Right, yeah.
unless they speak the
Unless they
language.
speak the language, and then you're the odd dude out, of course. All right, so that's one place you fix racism. And the second place, the place where it really got fixed for me, is the fucking job.
Is the job?
It's
Yes,
the job. You
yes.
go out and you get a job and you work with normies. Your racism is going to melt like butter in the sun. Okay? I mean, it's just that's just even if you go in there with, you know, you're going to learn to respect a dude, he's going to help you out. You're going to be fine with it, and then all of a sudden you realize you were fucking wrong and you didn't have to admit shit to anybody because you were smart and didn't let that stuff out. You know, in school, sometimes you do things that are dumb and you say things that your dad said. You know, when you get into the workforce, you don't do that anymore. You know?
You
So
don't.
you don't do that anymore, you know? And if you find a guy who wants to do that, it's the classic look left, look right, you know, kind of thing. And then, you know, suss you out to see if you're one of his people, you know,
That's
kind of
correct.
thing. You know, but like those are the two places you fix all that shit. And when you see all these people who like scream about racism in the United States, they're people who don't fucking work. So go work. You'll figure it out real fast that this is the best place in the world for racial integration, man. So, you
By a
know, by a
wide
wide
margin.
margin, man. You know, and then like, and I never really knew that until I started working with a whole shitload of international students, you know, and then
Mm-hmm.
asking them questions like what you're asking your Japanese tutor here, you know, and they're like, oh, yeah, you know, like my German says, hey, tell me what you think, you know, people from Turkey. Oh, that was a bad conversation.
Oh,
You know? So the same thing's true in other parts of Europe. And then, you know, then I've had students from Africa, a bunch from South America and Mexico, you know. And I mean, if you want to find real racial divisions in this country, all right, so I suggest you go down to Brownsville, you know, you know, ask some of the local, you know, Houstonites or that you
yeah.
know what they think of people south of the border. You're going to have a little bit of a shock there because none of the people in that room are white. I'm sorry, you can only be racist if you're white. I forgot. So,
Bro,
dude, this is a tough topic. I don't want to fucking talk about it anymore.
look, it is a tough topic, but I mean, you're right. So the
And the more
workplace,
attention that we bring to it, the bigger of a deal it becomes. So, you know,
well, again, the nice thing about this here is,
it's
like you
also
said,
fighting. So,
well, he's all right. I don't want to touch that. What I will say here is, like, when you talk about the job, you're right. Okay, because what you're going to find is you're going to work with some black people that are assholes. You're going to work with some white people that are
you're
assholes.
gonna
You're
work with you're gonna work with all kinds of people who are assholes and all kinds of people who are the coolest fucking
coolest
people you've ever
people,
met.
and
Yeah.
and what you're going to find is when it comes to human beings, that's the thing. Is some of them are assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are right in the middle, and then some are great dudes.
Well, most of them are great dudes, in my opinion.
Well, that 80% is all solid stuff.
That's all good.
When I'm talking about that top 10%, there are those people where it's kind of like, oh, I just met you, but I have 2 kidneys if you need one. Now, granted, it's just kind of like, oh, these Mormon kids are generous, but I mean, there's a distribution on it, and that's the thing is kind of like that's what you see at the workplace.
Yeah, you totally see this workplace, unless your workplace is fucked up. So
can
you
happen.
go to a workplace and it's nothing but fucking white guys from fucking Montana. Yeah, it's gonna be fucked up. So got it. Yeah. So, same thing. You go work at the fucking local cocina. I'm sorry, nobody on the staff but you is gonna be white, and you're gonna learn a lot, dude.
There you go. All right, I'm Jeffrey.